Hi everybody, I'm Roy Firestone. Life is full of mysteries, amazing coincidences, shocking revelations, and uncanny ironies. Unlikely Stories is a half-hour format that tells many remarkable tales involving the most celebrated people, events, and moments in a life that have a stunning and surprising ending. Did you know, for example, that the movie Rain Man, the story of a severely autistic man played by Dustin Hoffman and his carefree brother, were originally cast the other way around? Tom Cruise was supposed to play the autistic Raymond, and Dustin Hoffman was supposed to be the put-upon brother. And that Dustin Hoffman begged producer Barry Levinson to fire him from the film in the middle of the filming because he thought his performance was so poor, and he asked Levinson to hire Jack Nicholson instead. Did you know that the man who was originally cast to play Oskar Schindler, the man who saved thousands of Jews' lives in Schindler's List, the original cast was Mel Gibson? That one of Winston Churchill's most trusted spies was Noel Coward. That a car driven by superstar music producer David Foster hit and nearly killed a pedestrian on the highway. Well, that pedestrian was entertainer Ben Vereen, but whose life was actually saved because of that collision. That a fan letter to Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1940 asking to borrow $10 was returned with no money back to the fan, Fidel Castro. That the person who caught Barry Bonds' record home run was the cousin of Barry Bonds. That a young girl named Gail, who was raped and abused by family members, later an unwed mother at 14 who lost her child in infancy, saw both her sister and brother die of drugs and AIDS, and endured a firing from a TV game show, would eventually become the most decorated broadcaster of all time. Her name? Oprah Winfrey. That an undefeated poker player in the Navy during World War II was a kid they nicknamed Nick, well known for his stoic poker face, who actually won as much as $35,000 in a poker tournament. That Nick turned out to be Richard Nixon. That in the movie The Wizard of Oz, the actor Frank Morgan was outfitted with a distinctive coat acquired unknowingly by wardrobe. That coat, unbeknownst to anyone before, was amazingly and ironically owned originally by the man who wrote The Wizard of Oz, L. Frank Baum. That an Olympic caliber long jumper had to quit the Olympic trials to try his hand at singing. It's a good thing he did. That long jumper is the legendary Johnny Mathis. That the original Terminator, as casted by Hollywood producers, O.J. Simpson. That Han Solo was originally to be played by Sean Connery. That the original Batman was to be played by, get this, Bill Murray. Dirty Harry was first cast to Frank Sinatra. That an ambitious young violinist still learning the instrument was bullied and humiliated by his friends until he broke a violin over the bully's head. That led to a man asking this young boy if he wanted to defend himself by learning to fight in the gym. The young violinist changed his career, and his name? Joe Louis. A young lieutenant in the Navy was asked to defuse a nuclear power plant meltdown at the risk of radiation and certain death to himself. He did. He saved thousands of lives. His name? Jimmy Carter. A fan letter to Benito Mussolini in 1927 was dismissed by the Italian dictator. Mussolini would later meet that fan a few years later. His name? Adolf Hitler. You see, there are literally hundreds of stories in sports, entertainment, human events that almost deny belief based on how their stories ended up in history. I'll bring you dozens of amazing angles in every program to stories you only think you knew, with rare photos and interviews and home video and storytelling that offers the rest of the story. It's Unlikely Stories.